about atmosphere. What is atmosphere? Yes, the earth is surrounded by a huge blanket of air that is called atmosphere. Okay, so the atmosphere which protect us from the harmful rays of the sun, it provides us the air we breathe. Okay, so if this protection of air, if it is not there, the life is not possible. Life is not possible there here on earth. Okay, and also we have discussed about the composition of air. So which are the most plentiful gases that are present in air?
Nitrogen and oxygen.
Nitrogen and oxygen. Nitrogen, it comprises of 78%.
78%.
Okay,
And
and
oxygen
oxygen, it comprises of
1%.
21%. The remaining 1%, it consists of other few gases. Which are the other few gases?
Carbon dioxide, helium, argon.
Helium, argon, carbon dioxide, ozone, yes, hydrogen, okay, along with dust particles and water vapor. Okay, that also needed for our survival. Okay, so this all gases, okay, this has a perfect balance in the atmosphere. Okay, so if the amount of ratio, yes, Smriti?
Ma'am, the percentage of nitrogen and oxygen is important, right? Like
Yes. Okay, each and every gas, it is important.
Not that, ma'am. Is it important to study each and every percentage for every gas?
It's not needed, Only the plentiful gases you have to note, okay? So children, so the nitrogen, it is the most plentiful gas in the air, isn't it? Okay, so do you know that when we inhale, we will taking some amount of nitrogen and we will exhale it. Okay, inhale and exhale. We will taking and we will release it. Okay, but the plants need nitrogen for their survival. Do you agree with this?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Is it possible for the plants to take directly nitrogen? Is it possible for them?
It is not possible.
Okay. Then how do they take in?
Farmers put fertilizers.
Yes. There are some bacteria which are present in the soil.
Yes, ma'am. In legumes.
Can you tell me
the bacterium called rhizobium?
Yes. Okay. So with the help of these bacteria, they will absorb the content. Okay, absorb nitrogen from the soil, and they will make use of it. They will change its form and they will use for themselves, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. Then what about oxygen and carbon dioxide? That means, is there any relation between the plants and the animals for their survival?
Plants take carbon dioxide for the photosynthesis, and then after the process they release oxygen.
Actually, we had discussed this point last class.
Sorry, wait. Okay, so children, when we breathe in, we will take in oxygen. Yes, and we will release?
Ma'am, we will release carbon dioxide.
Carbon dioxide. Okay, and the plants during photosynthesis, they will produce?
Oxygen.
Oxygen, and they will take in?
Carbon dioxide.
Or they will make use of carbon dioxide and they will produce oxygen. So the ratio, Smriti, are you saying something to me?
Ma'am, so there is a perfect balance between both.
Yes. Between, I mean, these ratio or the level of these gases which remain a perfect or a constant. Okay, but due to human activities, what is happening here? Children?
Humans are cutting.
Yes, smokes, it is coming out from the factories and
And
from
also
the
the bats,
vehicles.
ma'am, from the vehicles.
Yes.
Ma'am, and also when we burn plastics waste.
Yes, when we burn coal, okay, fuel, I mean coal or plastics, okay, yes, this all children, it will increase the level of carbon dioxide into the air, isn't it?
Yes.
How the air is getting polluted? How the air is getting polluted?
Ma'am, from these, the smoke and all that are
Yes.
emitted from the
Okay.
factories,
Yes, we
vehicles.
have studied about air pollution. That means because of the smoke fumes coming out from factories, vehicles. Okay, the air is getting polluted. That means that the amount of air into the amount of carbon dioxide or the level of carbon dioxide into the air, it is increasing. Okay, but really, children, carbon dioxide, it is known as the greenhouse gas. Please note it down, children.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Just book.
Carbon dioxide released in the air while the plants, okay, they will make use of carbon dioxide and they will produce oxygen, and we the people, we were releasing carbon dioxide and we were taking oxygen. So the balance of this ratio of these gases, it is remain constant. And there is one peculiar thing about carbon dioxide, it is that it has the capacity to absorb the heat. What do you mean by retain the heat? I mean the carbon dioxide released in the air create a greenhouse effect by trapping the heat. That means absorb the heat radiated from the earth, so that it is called a greenhouse gases. That means if the level of carbon dioxide, or if the level of carbon dioxide, if it is okay, that means it's not be much more than the prescribed ratio. Okay, that time it has the capacity to absorb the heat and it create a greenhouse effect, so that carbon dioxide, it is also called as a greenhouse gas. Okay, but if the level of carbon dioxide, if it is increased in the air, children, if we cut the trees, and the level of oxygen will be reduced, right?
Yes.
Yes. And also if we burn something, or due to the smokes coming out from the factories and all, the level of carbon dioxide will be
Increase.
yes, increase. It will be very high. Okay, it will be very high, so that the temperature, okay, the temperature of that means the heat retained by carbon dioxide, it will makes the temperature become, the temperature of the earth, it become high. Okay, the temperature will increases. So that is known as global warming. Okay, this is the situation in which the temperature of the earth remain very high. Okay, so that what will happen if the temperature of the earth, if it become high, or if it increase, children, the rise in the temperature causes the snow in coldest part of the world to melt. When the temperature, when it become high, children, the snow, it began to the melting of the snows, which will increases or rises the sea level, which cause flood in the coastal areas. Okay, see, if the level or amount of carbon dioxide, if it is okay, if it is perfect, there would not be any problem. It is called a greenhouse gas. Okay, why carbon dioxide? It is known as a greenhouse gas.
Because carbon
it creates a greenhouse effect by trapping the heat. I mean, it absorbs the heat radiated from the earth. Okay, carbon dioxide, it has the capacity to absorb the heat radiated from the earth, so that it was called the greenhouse gas. But if the level of carbon dioxide, if it increase, what will happen?
The snow starts.
Yes.
Ma'am, the heat retains increases the temperature, and it causes global warming.
Yes. Okay. And if the temperature, if it remain high, it will lead to the melting of the snows. Okay. And also, it will cause, or if the snows, if it's melt, it will
Ma'am, it will cause,
increases
ma'am,
the sea
the
level.
sea
The
level
sea
will
level
increase
rise up.
and it
Okay,
also
the sea
causes
level
flood.
rises and which will cause
Flood.
flood in the
Floods, ma'am.
coastal areas. It would be a dangerous situation or condition for the plants and the animals.
Yes,
Okay, that means if it will affect the climate. That means if the temperature, if it is high, if it remain high, it would affect the climate. It would affect the life of the plants and the animals.
animals. Yes,
Okay, Ashish, is it clear to you?
ma'am.
Okay, Anthony, which gas is called as greenhouse gas?
Carbon dioxide.
Carbon dioxide. Okay, Steve, why is it called a greenhouse gas?
Because the pollution from the factories and the
No. Why it is called a greenhouse gas? Why carbon dioxide is called as greenhouse gas?
carbon dioxide rises in the air
Oh.
and create a greenhouse effect by
It creates a greenhouse effect by trapping the
trapping
heat.
the
Okay,
heat.
it absorb the
Radiation.
heat. Okay, but if the level of carbon dioxide, if it increases, what will happen, Abhyuday?
Ma'am?
Why the level of carbon dioxide will, how it happen? That means how the level of carbon dioxide will increase.
Ma'am, by pollution of smoke.
Yes. Okay, that means if we burn something or if the smoke's coming out from the
And
factories
also
and all.
when we are
Okay, that
cutting
is
the
a
trees.
situation. What is global warming, Riza? What is global warming?
Global warming causes when there is when we cut trees and the air starts to become warm and the rate of carbon dioxide increases.
Yes. Okay. And the temperature would, if the amount of the level of carbon dioxide, if it increase, the temperature would remain very high. Okay, very high temperature. That is a situation called global warming. Okay, and if global warming, that means if the temperature, if it remain high, Devika, how it cause, how it a dangerous situation to the animals and plants?
Ma'am, it leads to the melting of ice.
Yes, melting of
It
ice,
causes flood.
which rises the sea level, which cause
Flood.
flood. Okay, Devaginka. Clear?
These are we can underline in the blue box.
Yes, blue box it is given. Okay, so children, we need the presence of all these gas. Okay, but there would be a perfect ratio for each and every gas. If the amount or the level of any such gas, if it is increased or if it become low, it would affect the temperature, if it would affect the climate. Okay, so that we needed to carry or we needed to maintain a perfect balance, so that we were asked to plant many trees. Okay, not to cut the trees, deforest. We were talking something against deforestation.
So whenever we cut all the trees also will be a reason of the global warming.
Yes, that means the amount of oxygen will be reduced, right?
Yes. There won't be any problem if we plant and maintain the trees accordingly, but instead we just cut them down.
Yes, even though the people, there are some people who were trying to, environmentalists, okay, they were trying to educate the people, give awareness to the people about all these environmental issues. But still, we know that due to the increase in number of factories, industrialization, okay, due to industrialization, we know that air is getting polluted, right?
Yes.
Okay. And so which will cause, which will be a dangerous situation to the life of plants and animals. Okay. Now we were moving to the children. Underline. Have you underlined all these sentences?
Yes, ma'am. It is there in the first blue box called. Do you know, right?
Yes.
There.
Now you underline the sentence, page number 21. Oxygen is the second most plentiful gas in the air.
Ma'am, I have already underlined that.
Humans and animals take oxygen from the air. Green plants produce oxygen. Underline that all. Then carbon dioxide is another important gas. The amount of carbon dioxide released by humans and animals seems to be equal to the amount used by the plants, which make a perfect balance. However, the balance is upset by burning of fuels, coal, oil. They add billions of tons of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere.
Underline the oxygen is the second most
Yeah. Underline that also. Yes, that first line. The other points you know well about it. Okay, children. Now we were moving to the important topic of this lesson, the structure or the layers of our atmosphere.
Ma'am, I already studied this definition in the 5th standard.
Yes, you have studied. You might have studied all these points. I don't know whether you have studied about the layers of atmosphere.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Have you studied it before?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, in 5th
Then my
standard.
job it would be easy.
Studied about the layers. We have just, I think,
Ma'am, I have
Just you
studied.
know the name of the layers, right?
Yes, last year we studied the names, but not
Okay.
detailed.
Okay.
no, but we studied.
So now we were going to study in detail about these all layers of atmosphere. Okay. So children, we have studied the structure of the earth, right?
Yes.
Crust, mantle,
Mantle,
core.
core.
Okay. See children, the earth atmosphere, it is divided into 5 layers, start from the earth's surface. Okay. So which are the 5 layers of earth? I mean layers of atmosphere, sorry.
Ma'am, troposphere,
Troposphere,
You studied it?
thermosphere, exosphere.
Which is the first layer?
Ma'am,
It's troposphere.
Troposphere. Okay, children. So at Earth atmosphere, it is divided into 5 layers. Troposphere. Okay, then above, just above troposphere, it is. Come on.
Ma'am, stratosphere.
Stratosphere. Then the middle layer.
Ma'am, mesosphere.
Mesosphere. Then above, yes, thermosphere, and at last
Exosphere.
exosphere. Ashish, would you please repeat?
Ma'am, thermosphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, and exosphere.
Exosphere. Ayan, which are the 5 layers of the earth? Atmosphere. Sorry, I used to discuss before about earth, right? Okay, so the same
Yes,
came
ma'am,
to
exactly.
my mouth. Yes, Ayan, tell me.
Troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, and exosphere.
Exosphere. Okay. So when you were speaking, you know, children, when you were saying the layers, okay, you have to say this in order. Okay. So thermosphere, the first layer, the most important layer. Just above the troposphere, it is stratosphere. Okay, then mesosphere, middle layer. Yes, middle layer. Then just above the mesosphere, it is thermosphere. Then exosphere. Okay, exosphere. So we will study in detail about all these layers of atmosphere. See children, there are few points in the textbook. I'll give you some additional points that you have to note it in your lecture notes. Yeah, lecture notes. But when I give the question answers, I will give only the points which is given in the textbook. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
So keep your lecture note with you. Not only textbook, keep your lecture note also. Okay. So, children, these are the 5 layers of atmosphere. We know that start from troposphere. The layer. The people. We can breathe. Okay, we were breathing the air, and all the natural phenomena that exist on this layer. Just above troposphere, it is stratosphere. Mesosphere, it is the middle layer. Just above mesosphere, it is thermosphere and exosphere. Okay, so we will study in detail about each of these layers. Children, troposphere. Okay, first we will learn about troposphere. The term tropos, okay, it means change. Note it down. The term tropos, it means change. Because you know why troposphere for the first layer? Okay, you know children, this layer gets its name from the weather that is constantly changing. Okay, see children, this layer, it is the most important layer, and this layer, that means the air we breathe, okay, the air we breathe exists in this layer. And tropos, the term tropos, it means change, because almost all weather phenomena, okay, rain, wind, hailstorm, that means all the weather is constantly changing us here. You know children, just think about the weather. What is weather?
Day-to-day climate.
Yes, the day-to-day changes in the atmosphere, right? And what is the difference between climate and the weather? Have you studied it before?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Weather is the day-to-day changes. We know that someday it would be very hot, the next day sometimes it would be very cool. Okay, yes. But climate, you know, it is an average weather report. The climate of this country, dry climate or wet climate. Have you heard about that?
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay, so the climate, it is an average weather condition of a particular area or a place. Okay, so here in this layer, you know, the weather is constantly, it is undergoing changes. That means some days it would be very hot, the next day sometimes it will be very cool, so that it has got the name troposphere. That means it is changing always. And also mixing up the gases in this part of our atmosphere. That means that we have learned about all these levels of gases. I mean, oxygen, carbon dioxide, nitrogen, these all gases. Okay, as the presence of all these gases are this on this layer, that is troposphere. And this layer is closest to the Earth's surface, and it extends from the ground about 12 or 30 kilometers, approximately 12 to 30 kilometers high.
Can we write it in the lecture note?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Please, can you show me little?
Sure.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, see children, the most important layer of atmosphere, it is troposphere. The term tropos, it means change. Okay, that means the weather, almost all weather phenomena are occurring in this layer. Wind, rain, okay, hailstorm. What is hailstorm? Just a minute, children. Yes.
Ma'am, is hailstorm the heavy snowy particle? I mean,
Yes.
falling from
Okay, yeah, the same. So, children, so the almost all weather phenomena, okay, and also the air we breathe, okay, that exists on this layer. And it is undergoing changes. That means that some days the weather, not the same weather condition will experience on this layer. It would always remain change. And the average height is 12-13 kilometer. And the troposphere contains about 75% of all the air in the atmosphere and almost all the water vapor which forms clouds and rain. So, children, this is the most important layer. Why it has become the most important layer? Can you guess?
because the air we breathe is here.
Oh, yes. Okay, the air we breathe that exists on this layer. This is very close to the close to the earth. Okay, so this layer, it is closest to the earth surface. The air we breathe that exists on this layer, and also almost all
the water vapor in the atmosphere is in this layer.
Yes. Okay, and also, children, almost all the combination of gases, all other gases, it is experiencing or it is present on this layer. Okay, so that it makes it most important layer. Note it down, children, all this one, and also underline the points in the textbook. The most important layer of the atmosphere, average height is 12 to 30 kilometer. The air we breathe exists here.
Can you say which page number?
22. Okay. Almost all the weather phenomena, rainfall, fog, hailstorm, occur in this layer. Wind, rain, fog. Okay, these all are happening or occurring in this layer. Okay, this is very close to the earth surface. The air we breathe, it exists on this layer, and it means change. The term tropos, it means change, because the weather phenomena, it is always changing on this layer.
Ma'am, from which word is the tropos came?
Sorry, tropopause.
No, ma'am, tropos. Ma'am, the word tropos is English itself. I mean, like, is it derived from any language?
No, dear. The meaning of the term is changed. Okay, yes.
Can I share the board?
Yeah. So when you remind this, when you remind the meaning of these all terms, it would be easy to recollect the points related to that layer. Okay. So the term
word.
Yes. So why a troposphere? Okay, why this name comes to this layer, it means it will always change. The weather condition, it will always constantly, it is changing. Okay, and this is very close to the earth's surface. And also you have to note down the height, average height of all these layers. Okay, it's about 12 to 30 kilometer high.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, the extra things that you're doing can come for the exams, right?
Yes. And children, the presence of we have studied about the composition of air, right?
Yes,
so
ma'am,
nitrogen, oxygen, then other 1% other remaining gases, this all present. Okay, this all exist or present in this layer. And hot air balloons,
Yes, ma'am, yes.
Yes, it fly within this troposphere.
Yes, ma'am.
The hydrogen and helium
yes,
and the other gases, they are in the exosphere, right?
Yes.
Ma'am, so
that
how
means, yes, that is on exosphere. Here, hydrogen and helium is there, but the level of these, children, it is very
low.
Yes. Then, what about the temperature of this layer, children? You can guess easily.
Ma'am, the temperature constantly changes.
Temperature constantly changes, but is it high or, I mean, have you heard the term altitude? Altitude? What is altitude means?
Ma'am, in mathematics.
Ma'am, in mathematics.
You have learned about altitude?
Yes.
Yeah, what does it mean?
Ma'am,
According
according to the increasing height, altitude
Yes.
decreases.
Okay, so here children, can you tell me about the temperature? If the height, if it is increased, what about the temperature of
it becomes
temperature would decrease.
Ma'am, it becomes low.
Ma'am, it becomes
Yes.
cold.
Okay, yes. See, children, we were visiting many hill stations, right?
Yes.
Okay, and think about the climate there, Ooty, Munnar.
It's very cold.
Ma'am, Kodaikanal.
Yes. Why it is cold there?
Ma'am, because it is very high. Ma'am, high in position. Its high is very high.
Yes. Okay, that means if the height, if it increases, the temperature will
Decreases.
Okay, decreases. So in this layer, troposphere, children, you have to note that also. That means here the temperature decreases with the altitude. That means with the height. Okay, that means if the height is increased, the
Ma'am, when the
temperature
height
will
increases, the temperature decreases.
Yes. You have to note that point also, children.
Yes, ma'am.
Idika?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you summarize these all points about troposphere?
Yes, ma'am. The troposphere is the most important layer.
Okay.
The word tropos means changes because the weather in the troposphere constantly changes.
Okay.
It is the closest layer to the Earth. It is about 12 to 13 kilometers.
Yes.
And it contains 70% of the air and almost all the water vapors.
Yeah.
And weather.
What about the temperature? What about the temperature?
The temperature is
the temperature decreases with the height. Okay, if the altitude is high, the temperature will decreases. Okay, so these all and all yes, that you have told. So children, these all points you have to note about troposphere. The term tropos, it means change. Okay, so that children, almost all weather changes. Okay, it is occurring on this layer. That means rain, hailstorm, fog, wind, all these weather phenomena are constantly changing on this layer. And the average height, what about the average height, Ameya?
Ma'am, 13 kilometers.
Yes, 12 to 13 kilometers height. Then the temperature?
Ma'am, temperature is when the height increases, the temperature decreases.
Yes, with the height. Then
ma'am, so there is no accurate temperature.
Yes, hot air balloons fly in this line.
In the side.
Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
So we will discuss, we will continue more in the next class.